Do you remember when Assassin's Creed first got announced? All we got was a slick trailer showcasing a hooded figure with his hidden blade dangling precariously out of his sleeve. It immediately became one of the coolest concepts in gaming history overnight. However, hooded team of time-spanning super ninjas with cool gadgets hasn't become such a well-known concept without Ubisoft collecting quite the selection of stories from their many miles travelled. My name is Rach from What Culture Gaming, and these are 12 mind-blowing things you didn't know about Assassin's Creed. Number 12. The ANIMUS machine is based on Carl Jung's collective unconscious theory. Whilst it's perhaps all too easy to assume that at one point each Assassin's Creed game was just coming off an assembly line, back when creative lead Patrice Désilets was ironing out his vision for the franchise, a huge amount of care was put into every aspect. Famous philosopher Carl Jung proposed the idea that certain thoughts or patterns could be shared between unconscious minds, with specific terms cropping up like anima and animus, representing various altered and emotional states. The more you know, well, the more we all know. Number 11. There was originally a long-range crossbow in Assassin's Creed the First. Eagle/Senu-eyed players will have picked up on this, but as some of the earliest trailers showed, Altair has a crossbow on his back. Ubisoft ended up taking this out due to both historical inaccuracies and far too many playtesters were shooting their targets from afar, breaking the immersion of the whole experience. Targeted, ranged weapons made a return in Assassin's Creed 2 once they had established how you were actually supposed to play them, but the crossbow still features in a trailer that plays if you leave the Assassin's Creed 1 menu inactive for too long, so check it out. Number 10. Principessa in another Castello is a Mario reference. There is a far more overt reference to Mario thrown into Assassin's Creed 2 when the respective character utters the "It's-a-me" line, but you might have missed this achievement-based pun, which comes after you meet and escort Lucrezia Borgia after Sequence 4. "Thank you, Mario, but our princess is in another castle," is the line said to everyone's favourite pot-bellied Italian plumber upon completion of one of Bowser's castles. Wahoo! Number 9. The series started out as Prince of Persia Assassins. Back in the early noughties, Ubisoft were becoming extremely well known for their trilogy of fantastic Prince of Persia titles. They even went so far as to reboot the character again in 2008 to try and let him run alongside the Assassin's Creed franchise, but it didn't quite take off as expected. Originally, though, the entire Assassin's Creed franchise wasn't planned as one, instead being a co-op only iteration on the Prince of Persia formula, assumedly having Altair and Prince Dastan team up to fell foes in various slow-motion encounters. Number 8. Desmond's face model comes from a French model. Like in Mass Effect, the person behind the main hero of these games is a seemingly unassuming model who's been almost completely absent from the game's PR. Where BioWare's sci-fi masterwork used Mark Vanderloo, Assassin's Creed has French-Canadian Francisco Randez, who despite the different-looking Desmond that appeared in Assassin's Creed 3 onwards, has been the only person behind his physicality. Number 7. It's Ubisoft's best-selling franchise of all time. Now, fair enough, this one isn't exactly mind-blowing, but it's still pretty cool. Beating Rayman, Splinter Cell, and everything in between, Ubi's hooded behemoth has sold over 100 million copies as of September 2016, making it not only Ubisoft's best-selling franchise, but also one of the highest-selling video game franchises of all time, sitting up there with the likes of Pokemon, Call of Duty, and Grand Theft Auto. Good going, Assassins! Number 6. The cars in ABSTERGO'S car park are from Driver parallel lines. Quite a neat little tie-in, either letting you think that the Assassin's Creed series takes place in the same world as the Driver games, or just that Ubi wanted to tip their fedora towards another brilliant franchise. The car models dotted around the car park during the opening fight sequence in Assassin's Creed 2 are taken directly from the 4th Driver game, Parallel Lines, now to fight off that image of age-old assassins racing around New York City. Number 5, and I will have my scalps. Despite it being one of the most gruesome ways for anyone to go, scalping was initially going to be part of Connor's repertoire in Assassin's Creed 3. Even amongst all the axe-to-face moves and running guys through with rifles and muskets, they thought it was a step too far and swiftly cut out the scalping ability. Number 4, it took a 40GB patch to fix Assassin's Creed Unity on the Xbox One. The launch of Unity was a complete mess, sadly doing a huge disservice to a phenomenal art team, as the game was clearly not in a playable state for consumers. In the end, Ubisoft issued multiple patches to get things up to speed on each respective system, but for Microsoft's console, things were far worse, and users ended up having to re-download the entire game all over again, making its 40GB size the biggest patch in gaming history. Number 3, EZIO'S death occurs outside the main game's canon. Although he was the main character for 2.5 games, in terms of the main story, we leave an aging Ezio to his own wares following the close of Revelations. Animated movie Assassin's Creed EMBERS does pick up where this left off, showing him at 65 years of age, and his previous exploits have made him fairly frail. In the end, his death is a fairly peaceful one that connotes the Godfather somewhat, as he sits down, takes in one last view of the son and his family, and passes away. Number 2, Black Flag's combined landmass is about the size of Paris. An Ubisoft rep once commented that, in terms of scale, if you combine the entire playable landmass of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, you'd have a slightly smaller surface than the city of Paris in Assassin's Creed Unity. Their version of the iconic city in Unity is almost exactly the same size as its real-world counterpart, and since Black Flag is actually about 40% naval missions anyway, that's actually pretty darn impressive. And number 1, the Creed itself was inspired by real-life group the HASHISHIN. Well, it does sound a little bit like Sean Connery trying to say the word assassin, as well as actually being the origin of the word itself. A secretive Middle Eastern sect of trained killers from the 11th century actually did form the basis for this game's ideals. Nothing is true, everything is permitted, is reportedly a paraphrase on something their leader, Hassan I-Sabah, would say when they were active. And the accompanying image here shows a 14th century picture of Hassan alongside scripture depicting an actual assassination. So there you go.
Oh, wasn't that something? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe below, and also the people who made this lovely video, they're appearing right here. But if you're thinking to yourself, I want to see more content, Jules, then why not look above my head, as there probably is some. I don't know. I can't see it. Until next time.